A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Thursday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition. Senators have expressed satisfaction with the way the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning responded to and incorporated their recommendations into the 2026-2027 national budget. The Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement has warned that hate speech has continued to spread, particularly through social media, saying if the trend persists, it could have serious consequences for Rwanda's unity process. We're glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. Now, senators have expressed satisfaction with the way the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning responded to and incorporated their recommendations into the 2026-2027 national budget. On Thursday, the Senate plenary session approved the report of the Senate Committee on Economy and Finance, which contains the Senate's recommendations on the draft law determining the state budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Among the 5 priority areas for which senators had requested increased funding during the article-by-article review of the draft budget were the relocation of people living in high-risk zones and on islands, support for survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, and members to facilitate trade, particularly in rural areas. In their analysis of the 2026-2027 budget, senators noted that the progress Rwanda has made in developing homegrown solutions demonstrates the country's strategic choices and direction. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning indicated that following recommendations from both senators and members of the Chamber of Deputies in Parliament, several projects were added to the government's plans. As a result, funding for certain activities had to be reduced, while some projects were rescheduled for implementation in the medium term. In the 2026-2027 fiscal year, which begins on July 1st, Rwanda will operate with a national budget of 7.7963 trillion Rwandan francs. The Ministry of ICT and Innovation has informed members of the National Consultative Forum of Political Organizations that by 2030, the value generated through the use of artificial intelligence in Rwanda is expected to reach 6% of the country's gross domestic product, equivalent to approximately 862 billion Rwandan francs. During a presentation delivered to representatives of the political parties that make up the forum, the ministry explained how AI technology is already being applied in agriculture, education, and healthcare. The Director General in charge of Emerging Technologies and Innovation at the ministry, Esther Kunda, stated that the technology is already providing solutions in the sectors where it is currently being used. Artificial intelligence is expected to help increase agricultural productivity by 25% by 2030, reduce the use of water and fertilizers in agriculture by 20%, and raise farmers' incomes by 50% compared to current levels. The members expressed confidence in the technology while also noting that certain aspects of its implementation should be approached with caution.
We had invited the Ministry of ICT and Innovation to tell us more about the artificial intelligence and that's AI, the challenges, what has been achieved so far, and what's going on anyway. So I would say that it was a wonderful opportunity for us whereby we've learned that the government of Rwanda so far now has recently established a national artificial intelligence agency which is going to help to promote AI policies and also implementation of the different tools. But meanwhile, the Ministry of ICT and Innovation has created different AI tools which are very helpful in the education sector, like helping in setting up exams, but also tutoring the students and learning center and so on, but also much has also been done in agriculture sector, where AI is being used in irrigation, forecasting weather and so on, but also in the health sector, more especially assisting community health workers, but it's also going to be used in diagnosing different diseases and also what we call telemedicine centers, where people could also be able to call and to find out if they are sick or where can they go. They shared a lot of things that are going on, and but of course there are also challenges. There are risks available that some people are feeding different wrong information or fake information, and then others misuse the AI by putting in wrong fake news or fake information, which can lead also to fake results here. So, but the state has institutions in place to help us fight that. We have a DPO Data Protection Office, but also have National Cybersecurity Agency and the Investigation Bureau. They will help us to control or to fight criminology or crimes into that sector as well.
Addressing those concerns, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Eraste Rurangwa, assured participants that there is a plan to introduce education and training related to artificial intelligence up to the university level. The Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement has warned that hate speech has continued to spread, particularly through social media, saying if this trend persists, it could have serious consequences for Rwanda's unity process. The remarks were made on Thursday at the Kigali Genocide Memorial during an event to mark the International Day for Countering Hate Speech. During the discussions, it was highlighted that hate speech was entrenched by the regimes that governed Rwanda from the 1950s, eventually culminating to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Eric Mahoro, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, delivered a statement.
As a country that has known the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, we are aware that genocide did not just happen in one day. It is a result of a series of events which culminated into the genocide, but which predominantly began by institutionalization of hate, which was given space in governance, spread through media, and eventually given an opportunity to lead to the climax, which is the genocide against the Tutsi. So this is significantly important for us because we remember this history. We remember the journey we have walked through after the genocide, particularly that we are now at 95.3% of the national unity based on the national unity barometer, which we completed in 2025. This is quite significant, and we want to build on this momentum to ensure that we strengthen measures, strategies, and actions that bring all of us stakeholders together in order to combat hate speech in its all forms.
In the current era of technology, hate speech spreads extremely quickly, and there are still insufficient mechanisms to effectively counter and refute those who propagate it. Social media users, especially young people, were identified as having a key role, while also calling on relevant institutions to strengthen their capacity to address such harmful narratives. On the occasion of the International Day dedicated to combating hate speech, Rwanda presented and approved the draft national program for preventing and countering hate speech. The program is structured around 5 pillars with both short-term and long-term objectives.
The Unity Barometer showed us that the expansion of social media and the improvement in technology, modern technologies, has also facilitated the spread of hate speech, particularly online. So we want to remind that hate speech is not free speech. So we should all take measures to, first of all, understand our history and align to the commitment we made to never go back. So this should be a guiding principle for all of us. As we remember, again, we should understand that using these platforms that are expanding today should come with a responsibility to ensure that we don't give a chance to hate speech to spread. This is absolutely important, not just for the people in the country, but those also outside the country. That's why among the strategies we are taking, there is a strong emphasis on international collaboration to ensure prosecution, punishment, but also increased awareness on hate speech. And hate speech is not free speech.
The Deputy Resident Representative of the United Nations Development Program in Rwanda, Nana Teiba Chinbo, pointed out that hate speech not only destroys individuals and communities, but also significantly undermines development.
The remarkable progress Rwanda has made in rebuilding national unity, strengthening reconciliation, and restoring trust after one of its darkest chapters in human history did not happen by accident. It came through leadership, through deliberate policy choices, institutional commitment, community effort, and the courage of the Rwandan to rebuild together. UNDP recognizes and commends the government of Rwanda, in particular the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, for continuing to place unity, memory, and civic responsibility at the heart of national development. This is important because, ladies and gentlemen, hate speech is not only a social concern, it is also a development challenge. When hate speech spreads, it weakens social cohesion, it damages trust, it increases the risk of exclusion and conflict. It affects the confidence people have in institutions and in each other. No society can sustain inclusive development where division is allowed to grow. Development needs peace, and peace needs trust. And trust needs responsible communication, especially in the digital age. Today, hate speech does not always look the way it did in the past. It can appear in new forms through social media, online platforms, and digital networks, even games. It can move quickly, it can cross borders, it can reach young people before institutions have the time to respond. That is why prevention matters. It is also why the engagement of young people is so very important.
The preamble of the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda reaffirms that Rwandans are committed to preventing and punishing the crime of genocide, combating denial and minimization of the genocide against the Tutsi, eradicating genocide ideology and all its manifestations, and eliminating divisions and discrimination based on ethnicity, region, or any other form. The Ministry of Health continues to emphasize that no Ebola cases have been detected in Rwanda and that measures are in place to prevent the disease from entering the country. Serge Nore with more.
At the Kigali International Airport, there is a steady flow of Rwandan and foreign travelers arriving and departing. Based on the Ebola screening measures being carried out, travelers say they are reassured that there is currently no outbreak in the country.
Well, we just washed our hands, so it was easy. Really no problem. And when we were in Kabeho, we had to have our temperatures checked and wash our hands. But yeah, it hasn't really been a problem.
So we had a nice robot speaking to us, explaining everything, checking our temperature, and we had people cleaning our hands. I think it felt good and secure, and this is the way to do it. But I do believe that the Rwandan health system has the ability to control it.
Organizers of international conferences here in Rwanda, as well as tourism operators, agree that visitors coming to Rwanda feel safe because of the strict implementation of the Ebola prevention measures.
So what we encourage our visitors and guests and the locals is not to panic, because the government has put in place protocols, procedures. There's screening for the visitors right from the airport. They are screened when they arrive. The protocols are well explained. Even us as the tour operators, we have got procedures on how to manage that, right from the arrival of any port of entry. When the visitors come, how we sanitize them, how the cars are sanitized, how we make sure the guide gives full briefing. Right from the airport, the whole screening process, they meet the driver, drive to the hotel. They see that everything is very well organized. So for us, we would say that people should not panic, the guests should not panic, because Rwanda is very safe. And actually, I use the opportunity to encourage more Rwandans and more expatriates to visit our national parks and other tourism sites, because they are very safe and secure.
Bamaze kugera mu Rwanda baratangaye. Barebye uburyo ki ku kibuga cy'indege batangira.
After arriving here in Rwanda, they were surprised. After seeing how at the airport they were thoroughly examined and their travel history also examined. Such measures have been giving visitors reassurance that even after leaving the airport and visiting different parts of the country, they will still be visiting areas free of the Ebola virus, unlike the reality in our neighboring countries of Uganda and the DRC. At the hotel they were staying in, they told us that hand washing was being emphasized a lot, and at the conference venue it was the same. This latest regional Ebola threat comes after Rwanda's experience in dealing with the Marburg virus and the COVID-19 pandemic, which helped the country build a strong capacity to respond to disease outbreaks.
I think there is no need to worry about Ebola in Rwanda. One, the system is strong and resilient, and it can accommodate any case. And there is measures in place to make diagnosis, to trace cases, and to isolate any case that is suspected. So the system already is in place and was ready even before. So there is no need to worry, because it's robust and it can detect any case anytime and isolate it and treat it before it spreads to the rest of the population.
Members of the diplomatic community in the country have also been expressing confidence in Rwanda's health sector and its ability to respond to outbreaks, including Ebola.
It's also an opportunity to say that I salute the government for all the efforts they're doing as we speak to prevent Ebola from coming to this country. And this is not going unseen back home. I think all of this contributes to the efforts and what we want to do together, and that's only on the health field.
Although Ebola outbreaks have been reported in the Great Lakes region, top health officials in the country have confirmed that not a single case has been recorded in Rwanda.
There's no active cases in Goma, there's no active cases in Bukavu. Uganda has not reported new cases in the last 10 days, just seeing the reports as they are published. But in Ituri, there are still new cases. That's the epicenter of this outbreak. So, what we ask, what we tell the community is that Rwanda has no case of Ebola. We never had a case of Ebola in the past, but it doesn't happen by chance. It happens because we all come together as a government, as a community, as partners, to make sure we understand what is going on. We have a strong surveillance system. We have capabilities to pick any alert, any suspect case and test it. That's diagnostic. And we also respond whenever it happens, because you prepare to all case scenarios. But that is on our side how we're ready. So there's a hope. There's a hope that this outbreak will be contained.
Promoting hygiene nationwide, expanding healthcare infrastructure, increasing the number of healthcare professionals in Rwanda, and improving healthcare services and the community-based health insurance are among the measures helping the country prevent diseases and safeguard the health of all its citizens. Serge Nore, Rwanda Television News.
Rwandan peacekeepers serving under the United Nations multi-dimensional integrated stabilization mission in the Central African Republic were on Thursday awarded United Nations Service Medals during a colorful ceremony held at Sokatel Mpoko camp in Bangui. The medals were presented to Rwandan peacekeepers in recognition of their dedication, professionalism, and significant contribution to peace and security in the Central African Republic. The medals were presented to members of the Rwandan Battalion 1, who have been deployed across various operational sectors of the country. The efforts have supported the protection of civilians, facilitated humanitarian assistance, and contributed to the stabilization of communities affected by conflict. Speaking at the ceremony, the Special Representative of the UN Secretary General and Head of MINUSCA, Valentin Rugwabiza, noted the award of the UN medal symbolizes the organization's appreciation for sacrifice, resilience, and commitment demonstrated by the Rwandan peacekeepers throughout their deployment. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Gasasira, commanding officer of RwanBat 1, expressed gratitude to the United Nations leadership and reaffirmed the contingent's commitment to upholding the highest standards of professionalism while contributing to lasting peace and stability in the Central African Republic. The ceremony was attended by senior MINUSCA officials, military and police commanders, representatives of troop contributing countries, and local authorities. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Rwanda, Olivier Nduhungirehe, has concluded a working visit to South Africa at the invitation of the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa, Ronald Lamola. The Embassy of Rwanda in South Africa stated that the visit marked an important step in further restoring and strengthening relations between Rwanda and South Africa. The two ministers reviewed the progress achieved through ongoing diplomatic engagements and reaffirmed the commitment of both countries to further advancing cooperation that benefits the people of both nations and the African continent as a whole.
Africa also contributed to Rwanda's economic development by encouraging investment and private sector participation. One notable example is the entry of MTN Group into Rwanda, which has become one of the country's leading telecommunications and digital service providers, creating employment opportunities and supporting technological advancement. These contributions reflect the strong bilateral relations between Rwanda and South Africa and demonstrate South Africa's commitment to supporting Rwanda's recovery, stability, and socioeconomic transformation in the post-genocide period. So whatever the challenges that happened between our two countries, we believe that the bond between Rwanda and South Africa is unbreakable.
One of the key outcomes of the visit was an agreement to reconvene the Joint Commission of Cooperation between the two countries, with Rwanda set to host the next meeting during the first quarter of 2027. The two ministers also agreed to accelerate efforts aimed at expanding cooperation between their countries and to continue building a strong relationship founded on trust and mutual beneficial collaboration. To facilitate travel, trade, investment, tourism, cooperation in education, and people-to-people exchange between the two countries, the ministers agreed that within the next 12 months, South Africa will resume issuing visas to Rwandan holders of ordinary passports. The ministers also committed to further strengthening economic cooperation and increasing private sector participation. They exchanged views on peace and security issues in the region, including developments in Eastern Congo, Mozambique, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, and the Sahel region. They reaffirmed their support for African-led solutions to African challenges. The government of Rwanda has also welcomed the outcomes of this working visit and stands ready to continue working closely with South Africa to advance a renewed partnership aimed at promoting peace, economic development, and regional integration. Telecommunications company Airtel Rwanda and global technology firm ZTE have entered into a partnership aimed at increasing the number of smartphone users in Rwanda. The partnership follows the signing of a cooperation agreement between the two companies. We have more.
With the introduction to the Rwandan market of a range of ZTE devices, including smartphones and internet connectivity equipment such as routers. Airtel Rwanda's commercial director, Jean-Remy Abera, emphasized the partnership is intended to help Rwandans access affordable technology.
Today is a very good day for us, so we are bringing to Rwandans an opportunity to choose good products. So we are bringing a combo of having the opportunity to have access to a SIM card, access to affordable products, and also affordable phones with very good and high quality. So our contribution, mainly in addition to what Rwandan are used to have from Airtel, is we are bringing a telephone that gives them access to like using smartphone. So everyone, every Rwandan, every young people, every people who are developed and they want to access a high level of technology, so they want to have their hands to a smartphone. So today we are bringing to Rwandans affordable smartphone with very good and high quality.
The Chief Executive Officer at ZTE Southeast Africa, Fang Min, noted that the company's 6 years of operations in Rwanda have encouraged it to strengthen its commitment to making technology more accessible to Rwandans.
Actually, Rwanda, ZTE, I already mentioned, ZTE is not a new player in this market and not a new baby here. We established our company in the 2022 here. We registered the company here, and we have been here to build the network for Airtel for the long time, and this is for the network part. But today we're focused on the smartphone. This is a new area ZTE will do in this market. You asked me about what ZTE expect from this market. Definitely, two. One is about the business. Business is business. But that is not we expect only. What we expect is a mission. As I mentioned, we were together with Airtel to make more and more people to be connected, to enjoy the digital life. That is we expect.
The Legal and Regulatory Director at Airtel Rwanda, Rugamba Ramuel, explained that Airtel customers can use the network with confidence as the company has adopted advanced technologies designed to combat cybercrime and enhance security.
As a network, we have tried to come up with IT-based solutions to protect our customers from fraud. We have introduced three major things I can tell you. One is what I can call like an SMS scan that scans SMSs and sees patterns. We looked at the patterns that are used by fraudsters, whereby we say, look, most of the messages that target innocent Rwandans are these words. So we got keywords and blacklisted them so that when a fraudster is trying to send you a message targeting you, that message will not hit your account, so you will not see it. The second thing we've done is that we have rolled out a lot of biometrics so that we see really people who come to register, are they themselves? Of course, this is in partnership with our regulator, RURA. And we have in all our service centers, in most of our places where you can register for our SIM cards, you have to register by your by biometric, and you have to come up with your ID so that we really see that the people coming to buy our services are they themselves.
The two companies highlight that making smartphones more affordable and accessible will enable more Rwandans to benefit from digital services, including education, business, and financial services. They also pledged to continue improving the quality of their services as their customer base continues to grow.
Constitutional experts leading the drafting process of the East African Political Confederation say East Africans have high expectations for regional political integration, making it imperative to develop a governance model that is practical, credible, and workable. William Evans Mutabazi reports.
The East African Community's long-term ambition of deeper political integration has entered a new phase. National consultations have officially begun across partner states, allowing citizens and institutions to contribute to shaping a governance framework that could eventually define the region's political future.
We now have a fully fledged team from 8 countries. We're supposed to propose a model and then draft a constitution for East African Political Confederation. Now, the model is basically, in ordinary language, means proposals. A proposed model. You make proposals, this is what the confederation would look like.
Constitution experts say expectations are high and that the responsibility now is to develop a model that can endure and effectively serve future generations.
People are very anxious about this political integration, and waiting for us to see how we can make something which is viable, something which is credible, something which is workable, such that we can have strengthened the community at a political level.
This exercise will involve a comprehensive review of the East African Community Treaty, existing protocols, and other supporting laws, many of which may require revision depending on the governance model eventually agreed upon.
So we want to propose a model which will not fail. Study and critically analyze the East African Community Treaty. If it requires, it will definitely require revision if we propose a model, confederation, and these protocols, and other laws supporting the treaty. Based on the agreed model, develop a draft constitution for East African Political Confederation. And how should the constitution establishing the political federation be adopted? Of course, some of those things require referendum, others require central authorities like maybe an organization of Yala and other institutions to participate in the adoption of the constitution.
However, officials are also emphasizing that a political confederation is not the same as a political federation. Rather, it is being presented as a gradual approach to deeper political integration before any transition to a single government can be considered.
But you have to know that the confederation is not a federation. We are trying to move slowly, but sure, towards one government. And until we are ready for one government, as I told you, one president, one government, one people, we have to go slowly and integrate at a political level first. Our pledge is to see this process of drafting the Constitution of East African Confederation concluded. And we are very committed to this. We will ask you for your assistance and support.
Political integration is the final pillar of the East African Community's region integration agenda, following the customs union, the common market, and the monetary union. Officials say public participation will be central to ensuring that the proposed governance framework reflects the aspirations of East Africans while safeguarding the interests and sovereignty of partner states. William Evans, RwandaTV News.
Farmers in Gatsibo, a district frequently affected by drought, have been introduced to a new cassava farming technique, which is expected to help increase production. This initiative is part of an awareness campaign aimed at strengthening farmers' capacity to cope with the impacts of climate change through the SCORE Rwanda project implemented by the Ingabo Association. The campaign took place in Rwimbogo sector, where farmers said the new ZIPT cassava farming method will significantly boost yields. Cesaria Kanharama, the head of the Ingabo Association that organized the activity, has stated that the new method could triple cassava production for farmers. The deputy mayor of Gatsibo district in charge of economic affairs, Jean Leonard, said sector agronomists are ready to support farmers by providing timely information on climate change in order to help them effectively adopt the new ZIPT farming approach. The SCORE Rwanda project is a 4-year program with a budget of over $2 million aimed at improving food security, enhancing livelihoods, and strengthening climate resilience for more than 100,000 cassava farming households across Rwanda. Agriculture remains a key pillar of Rwanda's economy, contributing about 33% of the country's gross domestic product and providing employment to approximately 68% of the population. Cassava continues to play a crucial role in ensuring food security and improving livelihoods in rural communities, especially in areas frequently affected by drought and climate change impacts. And on that note, on behalf of the news production team, we would like to thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Avera, and until next time, stay safe and have a good night.